Hey, sports card fans, it's John, Wade Boggs fan. Hope you're all doing well. I'm back with another video in which I choose my top 5 favorite cards of a particular player. At the end of last week's video, I spun the wheel of names and it landed on Richie Ashburn. Now, to help me narrow down the choices that I had to pick my top 5 favorite, I went with the PSA Basic Set Registry Checklist. It's 19 cards from his playing days, and they include his 1949 through 55 Bowman cards, his 1954 Red Heart card, his 1951, 52, 54, and 56 through 63 Topps cards. Now, here's where I would love all of you to participate as well. In the description of this video, I'll have a link to the PSA Basic Set Registry Checklist for Richie Ashburn. And from those 19 cards, would love to know in the comments which were your top 5 favorite cards of his. And if you could number them 1 through 5, 5 through 1, it'll help me compile the results for next week's video. And if there are some cards outside of those 19 that you really like of Richie Ashburn, feel free to put them in the comments as well, and I'll have them as honorable mentions in next week's video. Now, before I get into my top 5 favorite Richie Ashburn cards, last week's video was on his teammate Robin Roberts, and there were a few of you who replied in the comments letting me know which were your top 5 favorite cards of his. So I'm going to start off by going over the results of your comments from last week's video, see how your top 5 compared to my top 5 of his. Then I'll get into my top 5 favorite Richie Ashburn cards. I'll show off the one Richie Ashburn card that I have in my collection, and then we'll finish things off by spinning the wheel of names again to see which player will be featured in next week's video. So let's get started. All right, for Robin Roberts, we had 19 cards to choose from. His 1949 through 55 Bowman cards, his 1952 and 56 through 66 Topps cards. Now, there were 5 of you who replied in the comments letting me know which were your top 5 favorite cards of his, and here are the top 5 cards that were selected by you. In first place was his 1956 Topps card with 3 selections, followed by his 1961 Topps card also with 3 selections. And then we have 3 cards with 2 selections each, his 1953 Bowman card, his 1955 Bowman card, and his 1957 Topps card. Now, there were some cards that weren't selected by anyone in the comments. His 1949 and 54 Bowman cards, and his 1958, 62, and 66 Topps cards. Now, there were 2 honorable mentions listed by someone in the comments. We have his 1990 Pacific Legends card and a custom card done by When Topps Had Balls in the 1963 Fleer design. Really cool looking card. So let's see how your top 5 selected cards match up with my top 5 favorite. At number 5, based on your rankings, you had his 1955 Bowman card, which I had as my 4th favorite. At number 4, you had his 1961 Topps card, which I did not have in my top 5. At number 3, you had his 1956 Topps card, which I had as my favorite Robin Roberts card. At number 2, you had his 1957 Topps card, which I had as my 5th favorite. And at number 1, you ranked his 1953 Bowman card as your favorite Robin Roberts card. And for me, it was my 3rd favorite. All right, now on to Richie Ashburn. Again, we have 19 cards to choose from. His 49 through 55 Bowman cards. Interesting, PSA put his 1954 Red Heart card on the registry checklist, and his 1951, 52, 54, and 56 through 63 Topps cards. All right, at number 5, I ranked his 1950 Bowman card as my 5th favorite. Now, I'm a big fan of the 1950 Bowman set, and usually it's because, in part, of the great backgrounds. Usually, it's the ball field, or especially if you see the stands, the people in the stands, it just, the ballpark, that really does it for me for a lot of the 1950 Bowman cards. Here, for Richie Ashburn, it's basically the sky, and there aren't even really any clouds. It's just a sort of a grayish background, but I sort of like it. It's just plain and simple. Love the brightness of the white uniform, and in here the artist drew red long sleeves, so just the brightness of the red and the red Phillies cap. Standard sort of pose that you see a lot in the 50s, but overall I think it's a beautiful card, despite the fact that there's nothing really in the background. All right, at number 4, I went with his 1949 Bowman card, and the reason why I ranked this one higher than the 1950 Bowman card is for several reasons. One, I like the name tag down at the bottom, but that orange background, and in this case, we have Bowman used actual images of the players. And in this case, we have a darker Phillies cap, and his long sleeve is actually gray. And the combination of the dark blue on the cap and the orange background, you got the red of the bill of the cap, again, an actual image there of Richie Ashburn. It's essentially, I believe, the same exact photo used for both 1949 and 1950 Bowman, but just because of the color of this one, I had to rank the 49 Bowman above the 1950 Bowman. At number 3, I went with his 1956 Topps card. Just love that action shot in the background with him sliding into third. You have the umpire right there getting ready to make the safer out call. And of course, it's a great portrait image there of Richie Ashburn. Very colorful card with the blue and the yellow for his name and the team up in the top right corner. You have the green grass of the field there and the brown of the dirt and the infield. It just, everything to me works for this card, and so that's why I ranked it as my 3rd favorite Richie Ashburn card. At number 2, I went with his 1953 Bowman card. Again, it's I don't want to say it's a standard image of a player in the 1950s, but of course he's kneeling in the dugout. You have the bat racks in the background. He has his one bat, along his arm and his elbow on his knee. It's sort of a classic 50s pose. He's looking off to the side. Just, there's so many things going on with it. And of course, the great color images that are found in the 1953 Bowman set. I had to rank that above the 49 Bowman and the 56 Topps card. Just a great looking image and shot there of Richie Ashburn. And at number 1, I stuck with Bowman and went with his 1951 Bowman card. Now here, again, you have the name tag that's on the 51 Bowman set. The background, yeah, you just see the top of the stadium there. You have the clouds in the sky, but the artist, I think, did an amazing job of drawing from an image Richie Ashburn. You have that great Phillies uniform. I'm not a fan of the Phillies, but I have to admit that is one sharp looking card. You have the stripes of the Phillies uniform. His name tag sort of goes over the Phillies, but it is just a great image of Richie Ashburn compared to his 56 Topps, which is also good, but I like this portrait image of Richie Ashburn better, and there's so many things great going on with this card. I put the 1951 Bowman card as my favorite Richie Ashburn card. All right, I'm going to turn the camera around now and show off the one card of his that I have in my collection. Now, this part of the video is going to be very short. Like I said, I only have one Richie Ashburn card in my collection, and actually it's not a card that I purchased. 3-4 years ago, Mike Baseball Collector ran a little contest, a little giveaway, and I was one of the winners. I think there were multiple winners if I remember, and I was one of the winners and won 3 vintage cards from his collection. I believe were duplicates, and one of them was the 1962 Topps Richie Ashburn. Not the most eye-appealing card of Richie Ashburn, have to be honest. He was one of the unfortunate players in the 62 set to be photographed without a cap. Don't really care for that. Now, down here at the bottom, it says at this time he was playing with the New York Mets. I don't know if he had just gotten traded. I'm not sure. That doesn't appear to be a Mets uniform, so rather than maybe doing some airbrushing or whatever, they just took a photo with him without a cap. And not sure what's going on with his lips there. It almost looks like he's licking his lips or something. Again, not the most flattering image of Richie Ashburn, and of course he's one of the unfortunate few in the 62 set to not have a cap. But overall, I do like the wood grain border of the 62 set. And here is, well, I always forget these are backwards when you flip them around. Here's the back of the card. I mean, really nice example of the card. I'm happy to have won it from Mike's contest. But yeah, not necessarily the most flattering card of Richie Ashburn, but as of today, this is the only Richie Ashburn card that I have in my collection. So let's get to the Wheel of Names, give it a spin, and see which player it selects. All right, as you can see, there are 32 names left on the Wheel of Names to choose. So let's see which player I'll be taking a look at for next week. And it's going to be Gil Hodges. All right, great Dodger, Gil Hodges there. It'll be fun looking through his cards to see which are my top 5 favorite. I don't believe I have any Gil Hodges cards in my collection, so I won't have that part of the video for next week, but will still be fun selecting my top 5 favorite cards of his. All right, last reminder, in the comments, would love to know which are your top 5 favorite Richie Ashburn cards, and with that, that's all I have for you. So until next time, thanks for watching.